Hello everyone, I wanted to show you the most efficient way of farming Zenny in the base game of Monster Hunter Rise. So without further ado, here's how you can get 3.6 million Zenny in just 1 hour. With the launch of the Sunbreak expansion on the 28th of April, a plethora of new quests and content is coming out. So I guess that most of you want to spend as little time as possible on farming points or Zenny to afford all the expenses Sunbreak has to offer. This is a follow-up on my last video about the best way to farm Kamura Points. I also wanted to do a Zenny farm video so that you can choose on what to farm in a streamlined, optimal way based on your needs. What is Zenny for? In Sunbreak you will spend the most amount of Zenny on crafting weapons and armor, and later a special crafting method which I won't spoil here. This is especially true when you want to craft more than one build for yourself. The most amount of Zenny needed would be when you want to upgrade your newly crafted armor to the max level. Here's an example of the costs of one whole armor set made out of the 5 pieces of the last story boss in Sunbreak. No worries, I won't spoil it. Crafting one armor piece and fully upgrading it will set you back a whopping 400,000 Zenny, which totals in a cost of 2 million Zenny for a 5-piece set. And that is not considering the Zenny needed for the weapon or even the costs of having multiple builds with different armor sets. Now to how the run works. Similar to my last video, we are on a 5-minute timer, meaning that we want to return from the expedition before we hit the 5-minute mark. And here's why. The locale information, the melting pot, the Argosy and even the daily dangos are on a 5-minute timer each time you load into a quest. What this means is that as long as you don't complete or fail a quest, all those things won't update. This is also the reason why we're able to do this for as long as we want. We do this run in a flooded forest map, because this is the only place where you can get the Nova crystals from, which sell for the most amount of Zenny by far. Here are the probabilities of the different ores you'll be farming, so you get a better picture of what to expect and what the average Zenny gain for one run is. Nova crystals are worth 2440 Zenny. You have a 50% chance to get those from white ores and a 10% chance from blue ores. The light crystal is worth 1150 Zenny and has a chance of 20% from both white and blue ores. Fusium ores sell for 1020 Zenny and also have a chance of 20% from both ores. For a carbolite ore you can get 680 Zenny. This one has a loot chance of 10% for the white ores and 25% for the blue ores. A dragonite ore is worth 480 Zenny and can only be looted from blue ores with a chance of 20%. And the last one is the macalite ore, which only sells for 160 Zenny. Luckily this one can only be mined at the blue nodes with a chance of 5%. With the route I'm going for, you will gather 7 white ores and 14 blue ores. Keep in mind that during an upsearch you will get 3 of each ore instead of 1. And with Geologist level 3 you will gather 3 items from white nodes and 4 items from blue nodes. Based on the probabilities I gave you just now, the average Zenny of a white node during an upsearch with Geologist level 3 is 15,498. And the average of a blue node is 11,424. With a node density of 7 white nodes and 14 blue nodes, the Zenny gain averages to 268,422 per run without the gathered ores from your palico. I couldn't get a source on how likely it is for a palico to loot a specific ore, but based on all of my runs, these are the averages for the palico. The palico gathers roughly 5 Nova crystals, 5 light crystals, 5 fusium ores, 5 carbolite ores, 4 dragonite ores and 3 macalite ores. With those on top, you'll get a total average Zenny for one run of 297,272. So about 300,000 depending on your luck. The largest amount of Zenny I gained from one run was 316,280 and the least amount was 273,080 Zenny. So in 1 hour you're able to get an average of 3.6 million Zenny. Now for the prerequisites. For the Zenny route you have to take care of fewer things beforehand compared to the Kamura Point route. You obviously will need an upsurge of mining outcrops in the flooded forest. Next you'll need the following armor skills: Geologist level 3, Evade Extender level 3 and Y-Bug Whisperer level 3. Constitution as a skill is nice to have, but in no way mandatory. Here's the armor set I'm wearing. It is actually the same one as in the Kamura Point video. This set is by no means perfect. You can perfect it if you want, but it is not really necessary. In terms of dangles, you really just need to eat at all, so your stamina bar is almost maxed out. No particular food buff is needed. Also make sure you're not in a lobby, because if you're in an offline game, you get to bring 2 pets with you on your hunts instead of 1. You want to have 1 Palamute and 1 Gathering Palico selected as your buddies. In the Flooded Forest, there are a lot of open spaces where it is beneficial to bring a Palamute. It would be too inefficient to bring 2 Gathering Palicos and do every movement with wirebugs. The last thing you should prepare is that your action bar should have the Let Me Ride Palamute command enabled. You can go to the System tab in your menu and alter the action bar settings there. Now for the run itself. Like in my last video, I will first guide you through the run and tell you the things you should look out for. After that, I will show you the run with no commentary, but with a timer, so you can see for yourself that this one doesn't have to be perfect to achieve these numbers. I will only pause the run for explanations when it's necessary. Stay near your Palamute at the beginning to get on its back as fast as possible. While riding, dash 2 times to the first wirebug. Make sure to switch to the Let Me Ride command on your action bar. We want to maximize our dash time because every time we use a dash, there is a drifting motion at the beginning slowing us down. This is also the reason why I don't dash between the wirebug and the first blue node. With that short of a distance, the dash after the drifting motion wouldn't make up for the slowdown. Also, you can't dash for a little while when your character is in the wirebug pickup animation. At this point, roll towards the hole in the ground leading to the underground area. Begin your roll when in line with the little plant. The reasoning behind the specific spot is if you have too much or too little speed when rolling over the edge, your jump will go a little bit further, and you want to be as close to the edge of that hole as possible while falling down. When falling down, turn your camera 180 degrees to face a giant stalactite. You want to aerial evade through that one to get to the next ore. While the mining animation plays out, use your action bar to call your Palamute with the Let Me Ride command. This is faster than holding circle after the animation. Jump with your Palamute when in line with the snow beetle, so that you land in the lower area as close as possible to the ledge and get the most out of your next sprint. From here, sprint 2 times to your next ore. Now sprint 1 more time and aim for the small cavity in the right wall. Keep in mind that with Evade Extender level 3, rolling is faster than running. Fast travel to the subcamp. If everything went smoothly up to this point, you intentionally want to waste a bit of time because you want to use the second wirebug, which we will collect later, as efficient as possible. What I mean by this is that when you begin your second round of mining ores in that run, you have to wait for the first node to respawn because they have a respawn timer of 4 minutes. So if you just go as fast as possible, you will have to wait in front of the node while your uptime for the third wirebug also depletes. And we need that third wirebug to make it to our last mining node with a comfortable time buffer. While mining here, again use the Let Me Ride command. In this riding section I will not sprint to waste a little bit more time before collecting the second wirebug. If you're not comfortable with your pace, you can make up a bit of time by sprinting all the way. Now collect the wirebug and make your way to the left where the ground is a bit higher. This is important because you want to grab the giant wirebug on the pyramid mid-air to skip the animation, and you need every bit of height to do this. So make sure to use the full length of your 3 wirebug charges. If you just spam the wirebug, you will travel much less of a distance and you will not make it to the giant wirebug. Next you need to gain as much height as possible, so again don't spam the wirebug. With the third wirebug, launch yourself over the edge of the pyramid so you can aerial evade into the side entrance. If you don't trip up too bad, you can still wall run into the entrance. Here I intentionally evade away from the pyramid to get a better angle of the other entrance. At this point, aim for the left side of the treetop to get to the next node. Now travel back to the main camp and start the route again. Remember that you can quit and try again at any time in this run. Although the consequences of going over the 5-minute mark aren't that big, because the only prerequisite is that you can get an upsurge of mining outcrops in the flooded forest, you would have to cycle through quests to get this again. Here you can see that we still have to wait for the node to respawn. If we didn't take it slow before collecting the second wire bug, it would disappear before we can get one last use out of it. At the end of the run there's a time buffer of roughly 8 seconds till the 5-minute mark is reached. This one blue node down the hole is the last one we're collecting for the run. Now I will show you the run with no interruptions or commentary, but with a timer, so that you can see for yourself that this run doesn't have to be perfect to make it in time. Thank you for watching and happy farming. Credit goes to U-tarou Game Strategy for coming up with an early version of this route.